Rexxar versus Illidan.
Feel the hatred of 10,000 years.
Let the hunt
Begin.
They will never catch me.
Job done. Hunt alone. Job done.
Demons? Demons.
Alone. Job done.
This way, you fools!
They will never catch me.
I hunt alone.
I'm meeting a friend. Do you see what must be done?
Demons? Demons. I see. This way, you fools!
I'm meeting a friend.
Job done.
I see.
We'll just have a little peek.
Nowhere to hide.
Hunter low.
Hey, I got you, friend.
I hunt alone.
Nowhere to hide.
Job done.
Alas, poor warlock.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Hunter low.
Rexar versus Lunara.
The forest fights back.
Let the hunt begin.
Job done. Job done.
Like a fungus we spread. Nature's true power.
Let's see.
You're barking up the wrong tree!
Time goes short.
wonder. Hunt alone.
I will give your flesh burgers.
I hunt alone.
Job's done.
I have no master! I hunt alone. Well fought. I concede.
Rexxar versus Kurtress.
Do not get in my way. Let the hunt begin.
They're not trapped. They're dead.
Job's done.
Pleasure doing business.
done.
I believe in second chances.
Job done.
I hunt alone.
Job done.
Was this your card?
I hunt alone.
You look like you love a good deal.
They're not trapped. They're my friends.
Pleasure doing business. Pleasure doing business.
You'll need to run faster than that.
I hunt alone.
You look like you love a good deal.
I believe in second chances.
Pleasure doing business.
Let's stash that away.
You look like you love a good deal. Like
An acceptable bucket of balls.
Let's stash that away.
Look like you love a good deal.
I hunt alone.
You look like you love a good deal. Like you love a good deal.
I hunt alone. Well fought. I concede.
Theoden versus Tyrande.
Raw power is no substitute for true strength.
I will prove myself to you.
Job done.
Bid starts at 200 gold.
I grow impatient.
A fair trade. Looking for 40, 45, 40, 500.
Job done.
I grow impatient. These are due
A
back
fair
tomorrow.
trade. Looking for 40, 45, 40, 500.
Another happy
A
human.
fair trade.
Time grows short.
Aim for the wheels.
Child's play. I grow impatient. I grow impatient.
You look like you love a good deal.
Dead on. Looking for 40, 45, 40, 500. A fair trade. Looking for 40, 45, 40, 500.
I'm slashing
Child's
prices. My hand is full.
By fire be burned! Die, insect!
Dead on. A fair trade.
I'm slashing prices. You look like you love a good deal.
Looking for 40, 45, 40, 500.
Free of that blasted tower!
I'm slashing prices.
Looking for 40, 45, 40, 500.
Demons? Demons.
Amidst the flames, only we shall remain.
Child's play. Time grows short.
Well played.
Rexar versus Mecha Jaraxxus!
You face Mechajaraxxus! Let the hunt begin.
Job's done.
Sorry, we don't have any ink.
Job's done.
You here for the tour?
Done. Job's done.
To the library!
Out of the oven.
Sorry, we don't have any ink. Sorry, we don't have any ink.
I can't do that.
You'll need to run faster than that.
I hunt alone.
Job's done.
You get accustomed to the smell.
That minion a turn to get ready. I hunt alone.
Where to hide?
F is for fierce.
Who are you?
Not who you think I am.
How they will behave. So they were worried. They are telling that you are happily going to India, where we will go. This is our motherland.
Getting the flight was difficult because it's not just India. Almost all flights are now sold out. Emirates, Turkish Air.
12 बजा भी नहीं था 12 बजा मैं एयरपोर्ट चली गया 2 घंटे में तालिबान अंदर में काबुल में आ गया बिल्कुल ट्रैफिक बिल्कुल इतना ज़्यादा था कि हम 3 घंटे में काबुल सिटी से एयरपोर्ट पहुंच गया.
All right, a desperate situation over there in Kabul. We need to take a short break. There's more coming up.
Low-lying areas of Chitlun resemble water bodies more than a town. NDRF rescue teams have been working getting people out of flooded areas, especially from hospitals which are now surrounded by waters on all sides.
Blood is my currency.
من جلال‌گیری به عنوان یک رسالت تاریخی تلاش میکنم تا نگذارم جنگ تحمیل شده بر مردم افغانستان بیشتر از این باعث کشتار مردم بیگناه، از دست رفتن در عهدهای 20 ساله شما، تخریب تأسیسات عامه و بی‌ثباتی دوامدار شود.
In the light of the increasing violence in Afghanistan, the Ashraf Ghani-led government also extended the Taliban a power-sharing deal. With the Afghan government's month-long attempts futile, Taliban's hold over Afghanistan continued to gain traction. And from the fall of the first provincial capital of Zaranj to that of the capital city of Kabul, Taliban has now taken over the war-torn country. As the Doha peace talks moved to the Afghanistan presidential palace for a transfer of power, Ashraf Ghani tendered his resignation, announcing for an interim government to be formed for a peaceful transition. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
United States evacuation operations are underway in Afghanistan, the country which claimed to have done away with terrorist elements in war-torn Afghanistan has now come a full circle. Here's a report.
Even as US troops' withdrawal continued, Taliban's capture of Kabul has brought the US to a near square one. Boeing CH-47 Chinook helicopters began flying in near the US embassy in Kabul shortly after Taliban seized Jalalabad. Thin smoke could be seen emanating out of the US embassy as the staff destroyed sensitive documents. Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters have also landed near the embassy as US speeds up the process of guarding the consulate. 5,000 US troops have been deployed to evacuate Americans as well as Afghans who had assisted Washington in its operations. The US has conveyed to Taliban that any action risking US interests will be met with swift action. But the visuals speak a different story. Once on the offensive, is the US in Afghanistan now reduced to a mere defensive? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
US Embassy in Kabul tells Americans to take shelter. The process of evacuation continues in the US Embassy in Kabul.
Yeah, sir. Sir, any response, sir? Sir, this is the back entry. Sir, this is the back entrance of Mr. Chidambaram. You have the Enforcement Directorate right now running. This is Mr. Sir.
Rexar versus Uther.
I will fight with honor. Let the hunt begin.
Thousands on interest. In 2 minutes, you could get actual pre-qualified student loan refinance rates from multiple lenders. Visit Credible.com today and see how much you could save.
For show what? We had a great Christmas at my house this year. My wife gave me the Fitbit for Christmas. Anybody wearing the Fitbit besides me? Yeah. It's a nice gift, but imagine how that gift would have gone the other way. Yeah, here, put that on, Chunky. Ow, honey, that's my eye. I made the mistake of wearing my Fitbit to bed the other night. I woke up in the morning, already had 2,600 steps. Yeah, older guys get that joke. Keep laughing. If you can go for about another 3 minutes, I'm covered. My son's a great kid. He really is. He's a musician. He's got his own band. They're a fantastic band. But unfortunately, he's got a lot of gifts from his mother's. He's got good looks, he's got a lot of hair, he's got musical talent, all which I don't have. For me, he got a really nasty sense of humor.
Reporting for duty.
برای اینکه ایران در این دام بلاخیز نیفته.
آقای سوفیامه، جمهوری اسلامی از این موضوع چطور بهره برداری خواهد کرد؟
به نظر میاد جمهوری اسلامی هر چیزی رو که شکست آمریکا بدون پیروزی خودش بدونه، حتی اگر شکست آمریکا به ضرر منافع ملی ایران باشه. من فکر میکنم قدرت گرفتن طالبان در افغانستان به ضرر منافع ملی ایرانه، ولی به نظر میاد که جمهوری اسلامی حتما تبلیغ خواهد کرد که آمریکا شکست مفتضحانه‌ای در افغانستان خورد و از افغانستان با این خاری در حال خارج شدنه و از پس طالبانی که نه یونیفرم نظامی
Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty.
Meet Chris and Mark. They've both heard of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But while Chris is using eToro to trade top cryptocurrencies, Mark keeps getting cold feet. Chris uses eToro's simple and intuitive platform to build his own crypto portfolio. And Mark is still waiting for a sign. Chris follows and connects with other experienced traders on eToro. Mark is following the advice of Eugene.
Closed captioning brought to you by MagnaLife Pain Relieving Foot Cream to target symptoms of nerve pain.
Suffering from burning, tingling, or stabbing pain in your feet? Get relief with MagnaLife Pain Relieving Foot Cream and get living.
Also available as a 360-degree spray.
My name is Randall. As I was getting older, I felt like I wasn't getting some of the nutritions that I should just from my diet. I was having some health issues, and the dermatologist had recommended a medicine that was about $4,000 a month. He said that once I started the medicine, I would not be able to get off from it. Even if the condition improved, I obviously couldn't afford.
anxiety that's there, because that's the number one thing. We're all sitting with this big emotions, these fears about what it's going to look like.
Right, and a lot of unknowns there. I mean, some students, like you mentioned, start tomorrow, some start next week, some after that. For students who still have a little bit of time left in summer, do you recommend things like visiting the school or getting together for a park play date or anything like that ahead of the school year?
Great question. And that's one of the things we've been talking to all our school parents and even my clients about. We are beings of routine. And so even getting back into that sleep, into that eating pattern, into let's practice and go to school. Let's practice if parents feel more comfortable with a mask. I even recommend having play dates with peers so that they have someone that, I remember little Johnny or Mary from school, and I'm looking forward to seeing them when I get there. A lot of our teachers at Momentous School are also doing home visits the past 2 weeks, well, virtual visits this year, excuse me, so that they can reconnect with the student and, that's that familiar face and I know what to expect.
Yeah, makes a big difference, especially with those younger ones. All right, Dr. Gomez, thank you so much for your time and your insight this morning.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. Breaking news when it comes to the ongoing situation in Afghanistan. Afghanistan's president has fled the country. This news coming to our Live Now from Fox desk via Fox News. According to two Afghan officials who spoke anonymously, the president and his national security advisor and another close associate all left Sunday. It remains unknown where the group fled to, and this exit comes as the Taliban's control over Afghanistan expands. Only Kabul and 7 other capitals out of the 34 remain under government control. Something we're closely following here on Live Now from Fox. Here at Live Now from Fox, we not only bring you national news from coast to coast, but of course we bring you international news as well. But I do want to switch gears and bring you all a lighter segment here on Live Now. This story is coming from Fox 2 Detroit. It's a really inspiring story of 2 rescues.
We hunger for vengeance.
transport that can move more people out. And again, we need to know, and I think Pentagon probably knows really where are the strong Taliban forces right now? Where are they in relation to Americans in Kabul?
Well, those are excellent questions, Dr. Grant, because President Biden told the Taliban, threatened them, that if there is any sort of gunfire or any sort of interruption with the evacuations, there would be consequences to pay. What sort of leverage do we have at this point, realistically?
Yes, we do still have the ability to carry out airstrikes. The Taliban has said don't do it, but the fact is, if the Taliban touch any American, they have to expect some reprisals. We have aircraft not in Afghanistan, but based in the theater in Qatar and others on alert that can do a little bit, at least in terms of support. And President Biden has said he does not regret this decision. So he is really owning this decision. I don't think anyone thought it would be like this. And I'll tell you, I don't think President Ghani is going to be missed.
You know, Dr. Grant, the president says an endless American presence in the middle of another country's civil conflict was not acceptable to me. Was it time, and was this the way to do it?
I think it was time. I think it was time for America to be out, but this was not the way to do it. And there's been a big miscalculation here. Ghani said he wanted to pull back and hold Kabul, and yet what we see is Ghani fled the capital. That is not what he said he would do even a few days ago. So no, this was certainly not the way to do it. Time to wind down the long war, definitely, but not this way. That's why Americans, I think, are very angry to see what's going on, and of course concerned about the potential risks to Americans who remain there and our allies who remain there in Afghanistan.
And as Dr. Grant, the idea is to get Americans there evacuated as quickly as possible. Given what has unfolded, it is a complete disaster there now. Might this somehow drag American military back into combat there on the ground?
Well, that's the question, because the Pentagon has prepared to deploy forces. They wanted to send in forces for an orderly evacuation. They may still be planning to do that. It's not a direct combat mission, but could there be some fighting and skirmishing? Yes, there could be, and that may be necessary to maintain an orderly withdrawal of Americans. Just don't know at this point.
What happens next?
Exactly what happens next. There is a briefing this afternoon. The House of Representatives will be briefed. They're going to look at the military situation. They probably know a lot more about that than we do at this point, and it really is the question of, is the Taliban, even though the Taliban is in Kabul, are they in a position that's strong enough that they can hold, and will this come down to talks? Remember, the big picture here is power sharing between the Afghan government, now the vice president's in charge, and the Taliban. Are they going to get to that point or not, and how bloody will it be?
Dr. Chances are I'm sorry, Arthur, I was just pointing out, I mean, chances are they wouldn't want a power share. I mean, they want the country.
That's been the sticking point all along. Ghani's government didn't want to do the deal when they had the chance. The Taliban want to prove they can take the whole thing. All outside observers don't think either side can hold it, and so then the tragic possible outcome, continued civil war.
Dr. Grant, just really succinctly, how critical is what we do, how we respond at this point in terms of the evacuation, any potential combat that may take place on the ground? How critical is it in terms as the world watches America?
It's very critical. We've got to set our clear goals for the evacuation, and it's got to go off smoothly and quickly. We have got to get this final piece right.
Dr. Rebecca Grant, thank you very much, as always, for your analysis. That does it for us. We'll be back in a couple of hours. But right now, there's more. Stick around. Mike Emanuel is in Washington right now.
A Fox News alert source is telling Fox News the United States Embassy in Kabul, Afghanistan, has been evacuated and the American flag lowered. This is Afghan President Ashraf Ghani flees the country after Taliban forces enter the capital with plans to declare the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Welcome to Fox News Live. I'm Mike Emanuel. On a busy Sunday afternoon of breaking news, we begin with team coverage on Afghanistan with Kevin Corke at the White House And Trey Yingst in the Middle East. Trey, let's start with you.
Mike, good afternoon. As we speak, Taliban forces are working their way through the Afghan capital of Kabul. We have seen images of fighters in the streets taking over portions of the presidential palace. And as you noted, we have confirmed Afghan President Ashraf Ghani fled the country, leaving behind what we are seeing to be an extremely chaotic scene. Right now, the U.S. Embassy in Kabul has moved to the airport as evacuations continue, and they have ordered at this moment to have all Americans still on the ground to shelter in place amid reports of the airport taking fire. Now, earlier today, this facility completely overwhelmed as the U.S. military works to evacuate its personnel and the embassy personnel, but also some extremely concerning images outside of the capital of Kabul. We saw at Bagram Air Base, a position where U.S. troops were stationed for nearly 20 years, a prison there with more than 5,000 Taliban insurgents and al-Qaeda fighters completely opened, and these fighters were allowed to simply run out with the Taliban, join their ranks, and then work their way into the capital of Kabul. There is immense fear among the population because they understand that Sharia law is simply hours away. We heard from Taliban officials this evening who said shortly they will declare the country of Afghanistan as the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. This gives you a sense of where things are headed, but a lot of questions tonight about what happens to that U.S. personnel and ultimately how the American military
Feel the power of the wind.
is able to get all
capital.
Elements guide.
We heard this over and over again from American officials, including President Biden himself, who said just a few weeks ago that the Afghan security forces are 300,000 men strong and that they could never be defeated by a force of the Taliban, around 75,000 fighters. But the reality on the ground was far different. What we found out, according to reports, was that 300,000 number was on paper, but in practice it was about a sixth of that size. The entire fighting force of Afghanistan backed by the United States military. So this allowed the Taliban to work quickly through some of the southern cities, pulling in Afghan reserve forces to the fight. And at the same time, they executed this offensive where they launched attacks on northern cities. This allowed the group to take over 20 years, and the implications of this are really far-reaching, because while the Taliban has come out with these statements ensuring safety and security for any foreigners or locals who they
a large-scale fight taking place. So that is what's happening now. I mean, the Taliban doing a policing operation, if you like, in the center of town. But I'm sure by the morning they will be absolutely everywhere, because we know that they've had reinforcements coming in from Jalalabad and from other areas as well. So it's going to be full of them by the morning. And as you were saying, Mark, of course, the big issue is the evacuation of thousands upon thousands of foreign nationals and Afghans from the airport. The question to come is, will the Taliban allow that to happen? Will they keep away from the airport? Because I think if they sort of move towards it, there's going to be real trouble, because obviously we have the United States and British forces here. I can hear their helicopters in the skies, and that has been a feature of the day as well, them flying above us constantly. But we haven't seen troops outside, if you like, into Kabul.
Stuart Ramsey there speaking to me earlier. Well, in the last hour, Boris Johnson has accepted there will be a new government in Afghanistan, but he said the country must not revert to being a breeding ground for terror. The Prime Minister held an emergency Cobra meeting today to discuss the country's crisis.
It's clear that there is going to be, or there is going to be very shortly, a new government in Kabul, or a new political dispensation, however you want to put it. And I think it's very important that the West collectively should work together to get over to that new government, be it by the Taliban or anybody else, that nobody wants Afghanistan once again to be a breeding ground for terror, and we don't think that it's in the interests of the people of Afghanistan that it should lapse back into that state, that pre-2001 state. And so what the UK will be doing is working with our partners in the UN Security Council, in the P5, to get that in NATO. There's a North Atlantic Council on Friday, to get that message over. We don't want anybody bilaterally recognising the Taliban. We want a united position amongst all the like-minded, as far as we can get one, so that we do whatever we can to prevent Afghanistan lapsing back into being a breeding ground for terror.
Our Deputy Political Editor Sam Coates is in Downing Street now. Good evening, Sam. And you spoke to the Prime Minister there. Many people will be seeing this as a humiliation for his government.
Well, I asked Boris Johnson whether or not it was a rout, and he set out the situation as he sees it. Look, the Prime Minister just 5 weeks ago told the House of Commons that there was no military path for the Taliban to achieve victory in Afghanistan. But that, frankly, Mark, is what we're seeing this evening. So what Boris Johnson is saying tonight is refusing to accept that there will definitely be a pure Taliban government. He says there will be a new government, but we're going to wait and see exactly what that makeup is, suggesting that there might be some kind of negotiation, or they might listen to some kind of international influence when determining the makeup of the new Afghan government. I think many on the ground in Afghanistan might be surprised at that, because it's not clear what leverage the international community has. But what Boris Johnson did tonight